Hello, Fuse Nation. My name is Alex Fuse, the host of Feuzion News, and today is June 28th. We are almost to July. My name is Alex Fuse, the host of Feuzion News, and I am on the phone right now with Josh Rultenberg. He is a former WTN news reporter, and he will be telling you where he is headed next. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And you just wrapped up your stint at News Channel 10 here in upstate New York, WTEN. And what was that time like there for you?
Honestly, it was invaluable. I came there after spending 2.5 years in southeastern Alabama, and originally from Philadelphia. It was great to get closer to home. I spent the first year and a half of my 3.5 years as a news reporter, which I was mainly in sports. So it was a whirlwind for me, and especially in the capital region, where politics is so huge. So it was great to do that, and then a year and a half in, I was given a promotion to weekend sports anchor, and I was able to get back in sports, which I loved. And I worked with a ton of great people. So, I'll never forget my time in Albany. It's made me a better person and a better broadcaster.
So, Josh, you took on the role of being a news reporter for that first few years of your time at News Channel 10. So what was that like, the switching gear of not reporting sports, but reporting news and politics?
Yeah, it was scary. I'm not going to lie to you. Being trusted to talk about something on a daily basis, which you know nothing about, is very scary. But luckily, I was able to exceed expectations, not just my own, but the people around me. And, I kind of equated it to going back to sports a little bit, where, I just had to figure out who the players were. I had to figure out how good they were, what they were doing. And if they weren't good, then, what was the reason? And, I just kind of brought a sports mentality to news, and, that helped me out. But it also made me a better writer and just expanded my horizons. And, I'm forever grateful for that time, because that's now helped me parlay this into a job moving forward.
So, Josh, we'll rewind a little bit. So growing up, when exactly, or did you have a specific time growing up where you wanted to be a news reporter, which you actually did become?
No, you know what? You want to hear a funny story? The story of me getting into this business is one of crazy coincidence. So I grew up wanting to be a professional tennis player. And I actually took a year off after high school to move to Tampa, Florida to train. And I was playing 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, and 3 hours on Sunday. So my life was fully invested in it. But I ended up getting hurt, and I had to come back home to Philly. And one random day, I was on my high school tennis court, and I ran into this guy who asked me to play. And turns out he was the local NBC sports anchor in Philadelphia. And I recognized him, and I grew up watching him on TV. And we developed a friendship, and he was just learning how to play tennis. So he made a deal with me, basically saying, if you teach me how to play tennis, I'll teach you the business. And it was as simple as that. It was my freshman year of college when that happened. And I had just gone to Rider University to play tennis in a business administration degree. But once I met him, we developed a friendship. He got me an internship at his station, the NBC in Philly. I parlayed that into an internship at the Fox in Philly. I ended up transferring to Temple University, where I did a couple of years of broadcast TV for their student-run news program. And that landed me a job in Dothan, Alabama, where I spent 2.5 years before going to Albany. It's a crazy story.
Wow, that's amazing. So you've been in the business for a few years now, and I have to ask you, what is the hardest part of the business that you think?
Wow. The hardest part of the business. I guess wow, that is a really tough question. What is the hardest part of the business? Just, I guess, reminding yourself every day that, you are who you are and not what you do. There'll be good and bad days like any other job, but just reminding yourself that you still have a passion for it and giving it your all every single day, because there's days you want to go in and that's not necessarily the case. But once you're in, then you're in. But the hardest part is getting in. Everybody wants to do this, especially sports. So that's why I actually had to go to news, because there's fewer jobs, in sports than there is in news.
Right.
So the hardest part I felt for me was just being consistent. and just trying to go in every day and just trying to attack it 100%. Because there's easily days you go in and, you just feel like mailing it in. But, I tried to make sure that I gave 100% effort every single day. So I would say that's the hardest part. The hardest part is just getting in and then staying in mentally all the time.
So we just talked about the hardest part about the business. What is your favorite part of the business?
People. I mean, there's not even a number two. I mean, number one is the people you get to meet. Being a reporter or an anchor, you get access to people that not the everyday person gets. And I can tell you, I've met people from different walks of life, and I'm forever grateful for those that I've met. On some random story in some little town, and next thing you know, they're helping you get a job when your job is up. And I'm forever grateful for everybody I got the chance to meet. So, I realized that once I left the area, that there were so many people that had an impact on me, and not just vice versa, that I'm forever grateful for. So, yeah, the people you get to meet is number one, far and away.
Who is someone that you would like to meet in the next 2 years?
Who is somebody I would like to meet in the next 2 years?
Yeah.
Somebody I would like to meet in the next 2 years. Wow. Somebody I'd like to meet in the next 2 years. Well, I guess being down here near New York City, I don't know, maybe if he's still here, maybe I'd like to run into Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, that'd be fun.
If he's still here. I mean, I know I can't meet Phil Jackson anymore. He's out the door.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I don't know. You never know who you're going to run into here.
Yeah. So, of course, you just talked about telling the stories, and that was one of your major key points here in upstate New York. And I had to ask you this one. You've done a lot of interviews. What would you say, in your words, what is the art of the interview?
What is the art of the interview? I would say twofold. Number one, you have to go in prepared if you can. I mean, sometimes you respond to breaking news and you just have to learn on the go.
Yep.
But being prepared going in, knowing your subject, people are a lot more open to you when you know more about them. But also listening to somebody, listen to their answers. Because while you might have a list of 20 to 30 questions, you have to be open. And, you might go into an interview thinking one thing, like this is the direction I want to take this. And then all of a sudden somebody gives you a surprise answer and it opens you up to an even better story. So really listen to what somebody has to say. And I think that's going to take you a really long way.
Okay, that sounds good. And a final question here before we talk about what's next for you. In a perfect world, where would you like to be in 5 years from now?
5 years from now? Well, I can tell you this. My goal since I got into this business, I had a goal and I had a dream. My goal was to come back home to Philadelphia. I think if I were able to do news or sports in Philadelphia, I'd be like a kid in a candy store. So to me, that is something that is still a goal of mine. And to be able to broadcast in front of my friends and family would just be amazing. The dream, I think, is every sports broadcaster's dream, and that would be to go to Bristol, Connecticut, work for ESPN. They're going through a bit of a change right now, as we've all seen.
Yeah.
But I think that to be a part of that network would be just incredible. So, yeah, the goal is to get back home if I can, and the dream would be to go to Connecticut.
Okay, those are two very good goals. And before Josh, you just picked up a new job down there in New York City. Can you tell us a little about what you will be doing there for all the upstate New York fans that you have gained here throughout the years here?
Yeah, absolutely. So that first year and a half that I ended up doing news in the capital region turned it out to be the most beneficial thing to me over the past 3.5 years because I landed a job at Verizon Fios One News, which is a 24-hour news network, just like Spectrum up there. I'm going to be a morning news reporter Wednesday through Sunday. The hours are everybody's favorite. Wednesday through Friday, I'll be 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. And Saturday and Sunday, I'll be 4 a.m. to noon. So I'll be responding to breaking news. I'll be previewing, the day's events or following up on something that happened the day before. But, man, I can't wait to attack it because it's a tremendous challenge. #1 market in the country.
And, Josh, when does that start for you?
July 17th.
July
So I am
17th.
actually down here in the area right now trying to find a place to live. And if I can't find one, I'm going to find the biggest cardboard box there is.
Well, Josh, I want to say thank you for all your help. I know you reached out to me personally a few months ago, and you gave me some few tips, and I'll be sure to use them and utilize them. And I want to say thanks for all your help and coming on my show today, and hope to talk to you very soon, and for you to respond to the Feuz Nation here in upstate New York.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. I think the number one thing you got to remember moving forward as you're starting your career is there's going to be so many people that are going to help you get to where you are. And not only should you never forget them, but also if there's somebody else younger than you who's just entering the business, never be too big for somebody and always pay it forward. And when I see somebody like you trying to break into this business, I'm more than willing to help because I know that someday, a little bit time ago, I was you.
Thank you, Josh.
So always remember that.
Thank you. And thanks again for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks, Alex.
Yes. Okay, Feuz Nation, you just heard the story of Josh Rultenberg here on Feuzion News. He's leaving upstate New York. And the guest I will be talking with next week, Jason Lewis, is also leaving upstate New York. He is over at CBS 6 Upstate Sports Edge. We'll be talking to him next week about his story and what's next for him. Feuz Nation, I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to come watch me on YouTube. Always be a subscriber of Feuzion News. Always be kind to one another. And I will be seeing you very soon. And you can always see me on Twitter at Alex Feuz. Thanks for watching. Be kind to one another.